You're listening to Lyfe and Shyt. I'm Dani Walker.
And I'm Tyrone Walker.
Join us as we talk about our journey overcoming fears, boundaries, marriage, family, lifestyle, business, and whatever other shit you can think of.
We're individuals that came together to create one unit with one mind and one goal.
Hey.
What's up, Mrs. Walker?
I'm good. How you doing, Mr. Walker?
Outstanding.
Wonderful day.
I like your hat.
Thank you. I like your hat, too.
My hat is pretty fucking dope. Queens, get the money.
I got a question for you.
What's up? Hit me.
Have you ever been to prison?
Have I ever been to prison?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Prison?
Prison.
Like,
I don't know. Is there a difference? Is it is one prison less than the prison?
Yeah. So like I've never changed clothes.
No.
Like I never had, other than my actual clothes that I that I had on that day.
It sounds like you went to jail.
Yes. So no, I have never been to prison, but yes, I have been to jail for something totally stupid, right?
Yeah.
Totally stupid. So yes, I have been to jail. Did a few hours in jail, and it wasn't just like not just like a drunk tank jail. Like I was in jail. So
you got out?
Yeah, they got out the same day.
How long you got out?
Not the same day. It was the next day. Got out the next day.
You had to sleep there.
Yeah. So it was quite the experience. It was different.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, there is a difference. So now I gotta ask you this: have you ever been to prison?
To prison, no. But to jail, yes.
Damn.
And this was over 10 years ago for me. It was quite a while ago, and yeah, it was an experience. One, it's an experience because you're out, you're living your life, right? You're just like da na na na. Well, at least I was. And then all of a sudden, it's like, and now I'm in jail.
Yeah, just like that.
And I'll be very frank. I went for a DUI, so I was a little inebriated when I got caught. So I had a great time. I was like, okay, I was nice to everybody, so it was different. But at the end, you're sitting there, and you're like, oh shit,
this shit is real.
Yeah.
1000%.
So it was okay in the beginning, and then at the end, it got bad real fast.
So today we talk about prison system, and that's why we had to ask. So both of us have been in jail. Both of us spent some time in jail, and in talking about the prison system, we have a guest.
We spent the night.
Yeah, we spent the night in jail. Definitely not time. A night in jail. Something that we're both definitely not proud of, and nobody should be. It's not like a badge of honor, but
not at all.
Something that is very informational, right?
Yeah.
And truly understanding it. So we have a special guest on. Special guest is actually the first time that we had anyone in our family on board. So I got my younger brother, Tyrone is on right now. He's the CEO of Touch Money Enterprise, which he is in the e-commerce space. So he understands things from the internet to the app and just crushing it right now in the e-commerce space.
Sales.
Yeah, super dope. Got the dope t-shirt on right now.
Yes. Extremely proud of him. Extremely proud.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so bro, thanks for coming on. Like I said, this is the first time we have family on, so this is my younger brother. I won't. When you get to a certain age, it's not your little brother no more. So when we was kids, he was my little brother. Now,
they say my little brothers and sisters. I love that.
We're the same height. We done been through some shit.
That's why that's why you really say little.
Now you're my younger brother, and only by 2 years. We're only 2 years apart.
I love it.
But we grew up like twins.
I
mean, from childhood going to school together. It wasn't until high school is when we actually started separating. And now you're on the East Coast. You out there in Florida. No more New York lifestyle. And we out here on the West Coast. So welcome to the show.
Yes. One thing people always ask, bro, when people come in, and I know they're going to be itching to know is, are you available? My favorite thing to say, are you single and ready to mingle, or are you on lockdown?
I very am very available. So,
he's single as fuck.
Ready to mingle as fuck.
You know what I'm saying? Super.
I love it. And then tell me a little bit about what you do, bro.
Right now, I sell resell. Usually closed online, but whatever I can kind of get my hands on, if it's worth some money, I put it up on, Mercari, Poshmark, resell it for a profit. I also work at a warehouse where I get all my inventory from, and just trying to still hustle, but doing it in a positive direction.
Hustle, hustle, hustle. I
So,
love it.
yeah.
I
And
love
we're
it.
going to talk about hustling too.
Yes, yes. And so what do you do for fun? So now we know what you do for work. What do you do for fun? What do you do for, like, you know, when you get off work, just kind of...
I'm definitely in the gym every day.
Okay. Ladies, we like that. We like men in the gym.
yeah. In the gym, you know, running. You know, that's about balance. So I do, you know, I hang out a little bit, you know, might go to a little lounge or something like that.
All right. That's what's up.
However I'm feeling.
Okay.
I mean, Jacksonville, big difference from New York City. So, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not like you just hop on the train and go to the spot. Like, it's an ordeal. It's about 45-minute drive.
Hey, you better have your car.
Yeah.
And you hope it's good when you get there. Like, this time you drive. And then, bro, what are some of your dreams?
To be honest, I kind of want to be able to like facilitate, or not really, as long as I'm using the right word, just basically direct. You know, I want to have at least 6 to 7, even more, different incomes, and kind of just be able to, you know, control. And like, I want to get me a box truck. I want to continue doing this resale. I would like to lawn mowing business, whatever, you know, investments, you know, buying company. My brother just told me the other day, you know, you take 10,000 and put it into a what was it?
Chick-fil-A, franchise.
Chick-fil-A, yeah. You know, different things. You know what I'm saying? Just various incomes.
Okay.
To where I can have all the time to do what I want to do.
Yeah, financial. Like, was it you know,
financial freedom?
A variety of financial income streams, right? So you got to have multiple income streams,
like a serial entrepreneur.
Exactly. Yep. So he said, you know, and that's one thing. I'm glad you said that, because one thing I always laugh at is when I was working, you know, we was out there with the ice cream, you know, the ice cream truck. So we had an ice cream truck on the weekends that we were slinging. Yeah, you looking like you didn't know about the ice cream truck.
I ain't know about that.
You didn't know about the ice cream truck?
You didn't know about the summer that we were in the ice cream truck?
No.
Oh, you probably don't remember. I'm sure we had this conversation.
Was it before the first coffee?
Yeah, this is a long time ago.
It was him and MI.
Yeah, this was back like 2012, 2013.
They even had me on the ice cream truck slinging.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago.
Slinging chamoy.
Yo, so when we talk about the hustle goes hard, bro, the hustle goes hard. Yeah,
like we're running our blood.
We don't fuck around.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So we got to ask you the question, man. We ran through it. We got to ask you the question. Have you ever been to prison?
Yes.
Yep. How much time did you do?
Out of 3 years, I did 2.5.
Okay. 2.5.
So you was sentenced for 3, but
I was sentenced 3, but got good time and got out 2.5.
Are you able to say why you got time?
What I got time? A drug sale.
So and you said hustling, you know, that's the hustle never stops. So you was out in the streets, you was hustling, and then got picked up and was sentenced to 3 years, got 2.5, and now you home today.
Yes, sir.
Super dope.
Yep.
Super dope. So we're gonna get right into, you know, the whole prison system and how that works, because you know, as Danielle and I said, you know, neither of us have ever been in prison, but we all got family members that have been in prison. And one thing that you don't actually have a conversation about prison. Like nobody actually just sits down and say, "Tell me about prison."
Like when you bring it like when you bring it up, people get like kind of weird, or they get like scared, or they kind of look at you different, and like, hey, everybody's got a past, everybody's gone through something, everybody's done something, you know. But yeah, people don't like to talk about it. It's just like, oh, that's like, you know, like, oh, I didn't know that happened. It's like, it's no big deal.
Yeah, 1,000%. That's 1,000%.
Big deal, but no big deal.
So there's different types of prison, right? So when you think about the whole scheme of things, the whole goal of the whole prison system is meant to rehabilitate. You know, they call it a rehabilitation process for inmates, right? Yeah. See, you did the air quotes. So air quotes rehabilitation. And then there's multiple forms. Now, when they talk about the multiple forms, this one I was like, hold up, like what? The multiple forms of incarceration. You have jail, prison, and then they call solitary confinement something totally different. Like now this is how naive I was. I thought solitary confinement was while you was in prison and you did something, even worse that put you in solitary confinement still during your prison time. But when you look it up,
Right.
they have that as a separate definition. Now, there's no rehabilitation in solitary confinement. Like, how you expect to rehabilitate somebody when they're sitting in a smaller room in the dark?
And nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of laws and a lot of people fighting against that right now. So
I can tell. Yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah. Just that it's inhumane and that there's no point in it. Which makes sense in a sense when you say that, especially it's supposed to be rehabilitating you,
Yeah. So Ty, there's different levels of prison, right? You got federal, you got state, you got, and then we'll talk about the different types and jail, like why how you make it to jail, how you get to state, how you get to federal. How did you serve?
Well, you go to jail because in jail you sitting waiting on what what kind of time you're going to get. You fighting your case or
your sentencing,
whatever, right?
So you stay in jail during that process.
During that process, I mean, you can bail out, but I knew I was going to do time, so I just stayed in there.
So
you understand what I'm saying?
So you could bail because it's funny because I just seen an article about the singer Tory Lanez, right? He got they just hit him with a $300,000+ bail. Now, is it like you said, you already knew you was doing time, so that's why you didn't bail? Is it because it was a waste of money? Like you already like I'm not gonna give the government my money if I know I'm going to do time.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
It make no sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did Tory Lanez do?
Allegedly. I can't allegedly shot Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's a hefty fine or a bail.
Yeah, and then some other stuff. I don't know all the details, so don't quote me on it. Believe me, I don't follow none
I'm like,
of that.
what?
But I seen the article come across $300,000+, and because of what he tweeted, I was like, because of a tweet, like goddamn,
crazy. So, bro, finish. So you said you're in jail, right? You're fighting the case. You're going to court. You're talking to your lawyer and all that good stuff. That's when all that stuff's happening. And then you go to court and then you get sentenced.
Yeah, once me and my lawyer worked out, because they were trying to do the 5 years at first, and we brought it down to 4. So once we worked it out to where I was like, okay, you can do that. So immediately he gets me the court date. I go to court, plead out, and then another 2 weeks, sent me up the way.
And tell me how that. I mean, I know people see movies all the time, and it's like, oh, but I couldn't even imagine that process of going from the jail to the prison, even though you already knew it was coming, right? But the feeling, like, oh shit, it's like going from and excuse my ignorance, one of my references I always go to when it comes to prisons is The New Kid, and it's like he gave the reference of going from one school to another school, and it's like, so when you get to that new prison, it's like now you gotta
definitely it's not like that.
So it's like you were in jail.
I see where you're going with it.
Yeah.
But not quite.
The New Kid. I ain't seen
remember?
that movie in years.
Who's the bitch now?
What's that? Remember freshman year of high school? Nah, not
Yeah.
quite.
You got to take out the biggest and baddest person.
Yeah, just I had the crazy eyes.
Yeah.
But you definitely, I had a mindset of like, damn, like, okay, because I've been to different jails, right? I've been to Rikers Island and, all of that. But I've never been to prison, so it was like, okay, like, this is about to get real. You know what I'm saying? So, on the whole bus ride going there, that was my mindset. Like, yo, this is serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said you've been to Rikers, and Rikers is out of New York. If you're not familiar, and Rikers has a very bad reputation, right? Now, just real quick comparison between Rikers in New York and Florida. How big was it of a difference? Because like Danielle said, is it like being the new kid and hopping off that bus and like, oh, this is like a new school? Like, what's the difference between Northeast New York City jail and then Florida State?
Well, if I compare, because Rikers is a jail, even though it's like a prison, right?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. But Rikers jail compared to Florida's jail is come on, Rikers hands down. People hear about Rikers and their eyes light up.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Right. So if you compare Rikers to the prison, though, Rikers is way more vicious.
So
way more vicious.
And that's crazy because typically, like how you said, when you're in jail, you're just waiting for sentencing, so you don't expect it to be that critical. You're that's savage. You know what I mean? But it is just because of where it is.
Because of where you at, right? Because New York, the gang violence is just it's
ridiculous. Yeah.
See, right. But see, even though seeing Rikers, though, even though I was sitting in there, I knew I wasn't going to do no prison time. That was just county time. That's what they call county time. Yeah. So, but big difference. I mean, so what was the question though?
So you was headed. So you was in jail. You was waiting on your sentencing, and then on your way to
process.
On the whole process, and then you said 2 weeks later, it was you got the basically you got the message.
Yeah.
Time's up.
Yeah. And tell us about like your first day there, like when you got in, and you got all your stuff and.
Okay, so the first day there, I had braids. Now this.
Oh, they cut them off.
All the way off.
Like the military. It's like the military.
Oh, that was a must.
They break you in. They breaking you in.
Again, I'll reference my only reference of prison, which is Orange Meets the New Black, where they had to shave their heads only because of lice. So other than that, they had hair. But in the men's prison, they just cut your hair either way it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no matter. Yeah. And like you got Rastafari, they don't respect that. You got dreads, everything must go.
So even your religion don't even matter in prison.
Nope. Everything is it's a wrap.
Oh man.
So so the COs, it's all a mental thing, right? So the COs are screaming, they yelling and barking. Sorry to say, our own people is sometimes the worst, right? So the first day, boom, I'm in there. I'm very observant, so I'm seeing and watching and seeing what's going on. And when I got my blues, because out here is blues, New York is green, you got the blues, you get your blanket, your sheets, and they send you to your house. I don't even know where the hell I'm going. So now I see these big buildings, big gates, big yards. I'm just kind of like, I'm a lost. I'm like a fish out of water. I get into this first house, y'all gonna laugh. I see nothing but people on pressure pumps, and because the first prison is a hospital. It's Butler. It's called Butler, Lake Butler. So whatever. I'm in there with these old people. I did that for 16 days, and I went something called the West Unit, where it gets a little vicious. And already had some words with somebody, whatever. When I got to my final destination, it was still at Butler work camp, because my charge, I was eligible for a work camp.
So how, like, you that's 3 different places. Like, what's the, how many days in,
Okay, so 16 days at the hospital kind of place, the main unit. That's the main unit,
the Butler,
which is even though I was in a place with a bunch of old people on pumps, but that's where the Lyfe is at. That's where it's really going down. Like, they not playing. So 16 days in there, and then I did the West unit, which you still got people doing crazy time, 10 years and better, 20, 30 years. But I did that for a week, and then they finally put me where I was permanent. So I did the rest of my time, So it's just moving around just to, till they find a bed for you, pretty much.
And then you say you did, you had work service?
Yeah, I was in a,
like a program?
Nah, it's called a work camp, where basically like we're eligible to, basically it's slaves. Like, they're gonna put you out there, you don't get paid. They put you out there, you cutting grass, you cutting miles of grass, you weeding, but it's better than being in the main unit, because you actually get to still kind of go out the gate.
Oh, so
you still get to.
You was doing work outside the prison though, so it wasn't like you was cutting grass inside the prison.
Let me explain, right? So you got this gate, right? You got the big gate. You can go right outside the gate, but you still on the prison ground.
Oh,
Ain't like you went to side.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you just cutting the grass outside. You cutting the prison ground.
Oh, shit. So you're a landscaper for the prison, for the state.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, like, what's the difference then? I guess if you don't go to work camp, then you just got to stay in your room, or you're just staying in the prison the whole time.
So in that main unit, you get to cut the grass inside the gate.
Oh, okay.
If it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? You only, but for the most part, you are, or you're working in that kitchen.
Okay.
Other than that, you're just sitting on your bunk and working out in the yard all day. And it's just, Oh my God.
So let's get into
Terrible.
how the rehabilitation process is supposed to work out.
Yeah,
So,
like that.
because like in the movies, they make it seem like, you have access to the library and people are getting degrees and granted there is like there's people that got high school diplomas and they got degrees and studied, but from a rehabilitation process and vocational, like at what point did you ever get offered something like that, or did you know anybody that was like, oh yeah, I'm working on a degree or I'm working on something because I got 10, 15 years, you know what I mean? So none of that, you didn't see none of that.
None of that. The only thing so one of the jobs would be a welding job, but you would have to have had welding in your, in your past.
Okay.
Right.
So
they're not teaching.
So
Yeah.
if it was a trade, so if you already had a trade that you were working on, then they allowed you to kind of continue in that trade.
I saw that. It's like if you're an electrician, or they're like, oh yeah, we can use those skills.
Right. Because what they do is they use everything in there. So like their cars that needs work on, you get to work on. They got mechanic jobs for people to work on their cars. It's like I said, welding. Because you got to basically you rebuilding a prison or something breaks down. We got to weld it. You getting paid no money. But if I wanted to learn it, they're not going to teach. They don't have no classes for somebody who wants to learn it. Yeah.
Gotcha. So
one thing they had was water waste treatment. It was called water waste treatment. But you had to have a certain amount of time because you have to fight to get into the class. You have to have your peoples right. It's just so much to get into it. But that was something anybody could have gotten into, but you had to have, at least 5 years. And 3 years a year.
Yeah, because
that's the only one I ever heard of.
Yeah, I'm sure it wouldn't be in their best interest to try and train anybody if you getting out in 2-3 years.
Yeah. So it's like if you have some time up in here, might as well teach you a skill.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I think their idea is why give these guys skills, which is going to stop them from coming back? Because more than likely it's a revolving door.
Right.
Yeah.
If you came in here, so why am I going to give him a skill to keep him out of here? He's money. You want him to keep.
Oh yeah, and then let's talk about that repeat offenders, right? So over 45% of people who are released are re-arrested 5 years. Yep, within 5 years of when they were released.
Now the numbers is ridiculous, but at the same time too, what's also ridiculous is the rules that are attached when you get released, right?
Yeah, and so that's another thing, right? So these people are re-arrested, right? But only 32% of them are re-convicted. So they're re-arrested because they have all these stipulations and rules, right? So it's like, yeah, they get back arrested, but they may not have convicted a crime, so they don't get reconvicted. They don't go back to prison. But 32% of them do. That's still huge,
still
right?
Huge.
Yeah,
that's huge. Word.
Yeah, that's still and the crazy thing is, I hate to always bring up the difference, right? But it's been a story and a topic of conversation for a long time is how black people, are arrested significantly more than any other race. Right?
Yeah, it's
especially depending on what part of the country you're in.
Yeah. Right? Black people are guaranteed more to go back to prison, but why? Because of the being poor, broken families.
Yep.
Lack of opportunities, which is huge, right? And racism, of course. Good old racism.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's like that's like the icing on the cake. I mean, because you're from a broken home, and then you have this poverty, and then there's no opportunities, and then just because you're black, that's like shit.
Right. So and when you look at a perspective, like 38% of black people are arrested. Like that's what's in jail. 38% of the population. Now, white people, 57% of the population, but there's more, right? So of course the number is skewed. So if you have more, of course it's going to be more. But
makes sense.
There's when you look at if they're like we always talk about the population of San Diego. If San Diego only has 11% black people, and out of the 11%, 6% are in jail. That's damn near 50%.
Yeah,
that's you know what I mean. And but because that number, because it's so small, but it's a great great within itself. And the trip is it's one out of every 45, right? So if I got 45 friends, one of us is going to end up in prison.
That is bananas.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about age, right? So and reoffenders. If you are 21 or like, how old do you have to be go to prison? 18, or sometimes they convict people at even 16 or.
I mean, I have friends that went to jail when we were 15, 16 years old, depending on what the crime was.
But if you go to prison, if you're released at 21, then you have a 68% chance of going back to prison. But if you're in prison, you get released at 60, you have a 16% chance of going back. But even that is high to me. 60 years old, it's like, what are you doing out here, right? Like, but I mean, it's like, if that's all you know, that's all you know. And if there's lack of opportunities, then that is what it is, right?
So lack of opportunity is the reason why you go to jail. And then while you're in jail, again, the premises is rehabilitation. It's like rehabilitate me from what? From a lifestyle that I was born into. Like, right? It's like if I'm a product of my environment. So, if we out there hustling in the streets, and by all means, do not take hustling in the streets as a trophy. Like people always, shout out to the rappers that are where they are today, but was hustling in the street. Like that, by all means, that is not a trophy, because there is a lot more that didn't make that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, but we're all products of our environment. So you can't rehabilitate me from being born in poverty and being born in the hood and knowing that this is all I have. Right. So you try to rehabilitate me from my life, but instead it's giving me opportunity. You know what I mean? How you feel about that, bro?
That's ill. I never even, the way you just put those in words, how could you do that? Unless you give me the resources, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I was like, if you was born into poverty, and these problems, how can you rehabilitate that unless you giving me,
some type of skills, some new opportunity. Teach me how to be an electrician. Teach me how to be a welder, because I didn't have that opportunity. Now, instead of rehabilitating me, because if you look up rehabilitation, that means I have a problem. I have an addiction, right? Yeah. So I got an addiction of trying to put food on the table, trying to pay, try to pay. Now granted, there are, some people that do have problems, like there's people in jail because of drug problems right now.
Well, that's an addiction too. Yeah. I mean, people who go to jail for gun charges are more likely to go back to jail for gun charges. That to me is an addiction as well. It's like, I mean, I have a problem with shooting people
No, that's called murder. Hey.
Maybe you don't kill them, maybe you just shoot them.
That's called assault.
That was a problem.
It's an addiction.
So it's like all the different levels of it, right? And unfortunately, we treat all prisoners the same. You know what I mean?
Very true.
So if you have felonies, you get your voting rights taken away. There's people out there that's fighting for rights and things like that, trying to change the entire system currently. And the trip is like now, private prisons have grown in number. Like there's not a lot of private prisons in the United States, but 8% of the prison population are in private prisons. Now, and those private prisons are on a stock exchange. Now, how you making money on people going to jail? Like that's insane to me.
Oh, and actually, California alone has made $2.3 million in revenue.
On prisons.
That's private prisons.
Private prisons.
That's private prisons, yeah. Which is crazy to me. And they basically will charge the government $150 per inmate that they house. So that's crazy to me as well. So it's like, this is a business, right? So you give me $150 to take care of them, and
because
then
you're overpopulated,
and you need help, right? And now I'm incentivized to keep my prison full, one, right? And also to cut costs here and there, which we heard this is why the people will hire but not train. So you got people who aren't trained, and then that opens up a whole bunch of other problems, right? Because they're dealing with prisoners,
very true.
So that's crazy.
So bro, you never had private prison experience?
No.
So
what's crazy though? I want to throw this in there. With Florida, Florida's a state, they have the most prisons throughout all the states.
Really?
And like how tourism used to be the number one income for Florida, and then it was Disney. And now prison is prison. Florida has the most prisons.
That's crazy.
I've seen it on the thing. It's so many prisons in Florida. It is retarded.
That's crazy. So prison beat
that's
Disney. Prison beat Disney.
Damn.
That is a trip.
Beat Disney. Beat tourism. Even be oranges. There used to be oranges before that. Yeah, Florida oranges.
All that's out the window.
Prison got it.
And that's another trip too, because of another thing that happens is the families that are affected, right? So it's people spend thousands of dollars to go visit people who are in prison as well, right? So that's another way that money is being spent, whether it's the railroads or the ways that they make to get to these prisons that are in the middle of nowhere, right? And then all the places to stay when you get there, you know. So these cities they're really coming up, you know, and it's a poor person who's her husband or brother is in prison, and now like basically they kind of serve the time with them because they have to go and they have to travel, and I mean it gets expensive for them too.
And it's hard. It's hard on families. I mean, you know, me having a brother that was locked up, and you know, being on the West Coast, it wasn't like I had the opportunity to come see you, but we had phone conversations, right? And you know, I'm sure the expectation when you get locked up is like, hold me down, right? You're expecting friends, you're expecting family, but it's just as hard to hold you down because it's like, well, I don't want to see you like that. You know, people have the same excuse as seeing people in hospitals. It's crazy how if somebody goes to jail or go to a hospital, they don't get as many visits as they would get if somebody came to their house for the weekend.
Yeah, like if they threw a party or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's the trip to me. Like, like you come to my house every weekend.
Yeah.
You come hang out with me. We talk and everything is all, you know, fun and dandy. But then if I'm in a hospital or if I go to jail, I don't see you the entire time.
And I need you when I need people.
Yeah, like when I need that company, right?
and that's deep. That's deep, right? I even had this conversation with Pops, with him and Boom, about him not even picking up the phone, and I was like, Pop, that was your right hand man. I would be mad at you too.
Yeah, but it's tough. It's tough. Like on both sides. It's tough. Like honestly, I've had friends that went away, and all of my friends have never judged me for not picking up a phone or you know, visiting or anything like that. But and no excuse, because I've been in California, you know, for a significant amount of time, and my friends, like I said, down to my brother, you know, have been locked up. But it's hard. It's hard to see a human in a cage. Like you know what I mean? It's like, and then Danielle was saying about these private prisons, how the correction officers don't get the training. We was talking with the producer of our show, and he was letting us know, like, they don't get the same training as state. And we talk about how bad state, you know, as far as getting the money to keep the prisons up, but at least those guys are trained and have a somewhat of an understanding. But then private prisons, they don't even give a shit. You know what I mean? They letting some, you know, whoever barely high school diploma or whatever the case may be, run that prison.
Yeah, it's true. It's a lot of opportunity for their state, so that's why they like bring the prisons. A lot of opportunities for, like I said, the communities too, and then also the job opportunities, you know. But then then you're hiring these people who are they just don't have the education, they don't have the training, and then you give them a huge responsibility, which is being over humans, right? Like that's huge. You can't just give anybody that responsibility and think that they'll be okay, but. Yeah. So,
Ty, let me ask you this. Being someone that has been incarcerated and knowing that these motherfuckers, you have the opportunity to buy stock in a private prison, would you buy stock in prison?
Yeah.
Yep. Why?
Yeah. Because I'm thinking that I'm not taking it personal. It's a business aspect, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I could be right back in there the next day. It's just business. Nothing personal.
That's So it ain't got nothing to do with the people on the inside. It ain't got nothing to do with the people that's running it. You seen a business opportunity, take advantage. Because people will not, you know, say yes or no. Like I remember when it was a big deal about how millionaires was coming up on these private prisons. Yeah, investing in private prisons. And I looked into it. I ain't gonna no lie. I was close. I was like, I should hop all the way in. I should hop all the way in on it. But then I had friends going, and then I think you was up in Rikers at the time, and I was like, nah, I can't do it. Like I don't even feel good about that.
I used to feel that way about Michael Jordan. Like, oh, he a sucker. Jordan, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yep. He was
one of them. And I'm like, oh, he's a sucker, but you can't take it personal.
Nah.
You gotta I'm not. I can't attach myself. You know, it's his business.
You guys, that one's a little rough for me because your business then is making sure, or off the backs of people going to jail, and then it just so happens that most of our people are the ones that will be providing you this business, you know.
Yeah.
And then I mean, and it's not like if all crimes were created equal, I say, you know, if everyone went to jail because of what they were supposed to go to jail for, then I think I'd feel a little different about that. But when I look up and I see that black people, like one of the main reasons that black people go to jail is for fucking racism, like, I think that's horrible, you know? So, I mean, I don't even know the percentages, but if it's 2% of black people that are in jail just for racism, and then I'm getting, say, $20 million from these, like, just from those, I don't know. It just doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I can understand that. But at the end of the day, people are going to jail no matter what. Like, people are going to jail. Now, if this prison was truly rehabilitating people, like if you go to prison and now you walk out with a skill, you know what I mean?
Right.
It would be more understanding.
So let's invest in that then, right? Let's invest in those programs and those systems that actually make the prison. Or if you are going to invest, like invest in something good.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You know,
not.
Or the money that you made, if you're investing in a prison, the money that you made, let's say you make a boatload of cash, go to a prison and fund the program.
Yeah, there you go.
Yourself.
Yeah, that's real talk. So it's like as much money as people are putting into colleges to you know, like, oh, let's create this program for this college and teach these kids stem cell research and, you know, all this stuff. Is there people going to prisons and saying, yo, I want to put my money in and change lives? No, but no, instead, you know, there's prison reform. There's a lot of reform. I think you have to change the system before you could go and invest money into it. Because at this point, like we said, it's not real as far as the rehabilitation goes. So once you change the mindset of why people go into jail, then maybe you could say, all right, now let's come in and really change these people and give them a trade and give them something that they could look forward to when they come out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so because one of the things like Ty, and you could dig, you know, go all the way in on this, is when you actually got out and you was working, like, so you was out of, you know, the cement side of it, and then went into opportunity to where it was like, all right, now I'm out and about, I'm going to a regular job. You know what I mean? Because I'm on my way out for freedom. Like, what was that called? Did that have a name? Or?
Yeah, that was work release.
Okay, so that was the work release program, not just outside the gate mowing grass, but like you was actually working. I was actually
in society, and I had a job.
You was
taxes, I was getting taxes.
Almost free.
You was paying taxes?
Right. Yeah, but I still had the ankle monitor. I still had to be at a place. I couldn't deviate, like I can't take a route. If I want to go home this way, I remember one time, well, you know, it's crazy real quick. They had me riding a bike to work. I wanted to jog to work. They told me, no, you can't do that. You can't change your transportation like that. I'm taking the same route, but I'm just running. Yeah. They said you can't do that.
You can't change your transportation. You can't use your legs.
No, right. you can use them just only on a bike.
Yeah, you got to be here faster.
But now people say, so I say, okay, well, my bike might have got flat, or my bike got flat. Well, you got to tell us, and then we'll change your transportation where you can walk.
Oh, so you didn't have the choice, basally.
It's control. All about control, like you said in the beginning, bro. It's all about control. Yeah. They just want to see that you don't have any control.
So you're paying taxes, working and paying taxes, but you can't vote. How? Like, what kind of shit is that?
And then you still, if you have any child support, then you still accrue your child support too, which is exactly. Right?
It's like, so you can't.
It doesn't stop.
You can't pay no bills. You can't pay your child support. You can't pay none of that. But the money you make still goes back to the state.
No. So at the work release, they ask you about all that, right?
Okay.
So like for instance, moms is got Amaya, so they was making me give her.
Oh, okay.
Child, they would take. Yeah, that's with the work release. I don't know about actually in prison.
Okay.
But in prison, you ain't making no money anyway.
Nah. I thought that was because I was about to say that's even more gangster. Like if you working and you can't pay nothing that you owe,
Okay.
You can't even pay taxes, right? Nah, they taking.
that's some bullshit.
First thing they ask you in the orientation is how many kids you got, and whoever got the custody of those kids, they send in 10% over there
Automatically.
And automatically. Of course, the job you're working at, taxes are gonna come out. The state gonna take the money anyway.
Right.
Taxes, right? So now it was society.
What, so of course you have no choice in transportation. So I'm sure you didn't have no choice of what kind of work you were doing. So did you know what you were going to be doing before you went into it, or it was a surprise?
No. So you get there and they got contracts with different companies that will take you. Yeah. So Goodwill happened to be one of them. So they was like, yo, you want to go here? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Which I'll say, shout out to Goodwill and companies that do those kind of like prison reforms that they open up the. What's the real? Let me pause.
Bunch of crooks. Goodwill.
Bro, tell me.
So honestly, like you think about it, because we get, as employers, people come to us all the time and say, hey, we'll pay you if you take on X, whoever
employees that are, or people who are exits or that,
or will pay their salary if you take them on. So I get what you're saying, bro. It's like it's not like they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart.
Right? No, they getting that check, right?
No, but they have the opportunity to say no. Or
but why say no if you're getting paid?
Because they're afraid that people
cheap
might do things that they're not supposed to.
That part.
That's all.
Yeah, it's
the
cheap
same
labor.
reason,
So I definitely
other people don't give that opportunity just because of the record. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but so do you feel like should work release be given to everybody? Like was that at least some type of rehabilitation? I hate the term rehabilitation.
Wait, what do you mean to everybody?
Like because everybody don't get the option for work release in prison.
I don't think they should. Everybody shouldn't get it depends on your time in crime, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like who like. Why how do they determine? Yeah, it's like if and how come certain areas, like I'm sure people on Rikers Island ain't getting work release and people on Rikers for no damn reason. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you, work release is so weird. Where they was gonna stop me from going there because of a domestic charge I had in New York. That's when I don't know if you remember, they sent me back to prison.
Yeah,
but right for the 10 days, and I came back because of the domestic I had. But when they did their homework on it, they was like, "Oh, okay, it ain't what it is." Right.
So anything that got to do with violence, they're like,
no. That's the thing. Like a dude who I'm cool with, he is down. He did 7 years for a attempted attempt, and he was in work release the same time I was in there.
Oh,
so it's weird because I could shoot you and go to work release, but I can't have a verbal argument with my girlfriend. That's no work release.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. That's huge difference. Huge difference.
I could shoot you. I go to work release. But if I argue with you,
I'm gonna be the advocate again and just say that I feel that arguments with a woman or your significant other probably will happen a lot more than you shooting somebody. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Hey, you said earlier having a gun is an addiction.
No, I said they're more likely. I said they're more likely to go back because of their addiction. Yeah. Well, thank you. If you have a tendency to put your hands on or slap a woman up, then perhaps you might not want to be out there.
Allegedly.
You know, like okay.
Allegedly. Yeah, so the term and the crazy thing is nobody knows the terms. Like everything is you just so happen to have the opportunity. It's not like, oh, when you got sentenced, they didn't say, all right, hey, Mr. Walker, because of your violation and because of your crime, you got X amount of years and you have the option to do this and you get this. It wasn't, it wasn't like, here's the full spread of what the opportunities you have during your process.
Oh, no. Actually, my lawyer, he did say that. He was like, okay, so, they hit you with 3. Out of that 3, you do 2.5, but you're going to be eligible for work release after a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay. So
he told me that, but he didn't know, that I was going to get sent back. You know what I'm saying? He didn't know about the whole.
All that in between.
Mm-hmm.
In between, right. I don't know how that happened. Like I said, it was only 10 days and then they sent me right back. But they Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's a trip because they let you go to work release and then they brought you back in.
Right.
Like
Right.
this whole time you was sitting in the jail, right? Sitting in the prison. Like this whole time. Like you guys knew all this. Then you let me out and then you call me back in. And then you let me back out again. And I'm like, who's paying for this?
That was the state. The state is paying.
Right.
and if you own a home, you're paying the state, right? And then the last part of your work release, because you had to go back because of how much money you had.
Oh man.
So you get penalized for making money.
So I got penalized for making money outside that they couldn't take, right? Because the work release, they take your check, and then they divvy it up. You know, they take their room and board and all of that.
Give the 10%.
So when they, hell no, it was like
the 10% to for your child support.
Oh no, it's all right. So it's 10% for child support, 10% towards your savings.
Okay.
And but for the room and board, I think it was like 40 or 55%. Something like they take more than what you pocket, and then the rest you pocket. So they sent me back because they went through my phone and seen that I had, what I do now, right? And they didn't like that. They seen the money, they seen the resale going on, so they sent me back for that. So
they sent you back.
Don't want you to.
They sent you back because you was doing a rehabilitation thing. Yeah, you was rehabilitating.
I was rehabilitating.
And they ain't like it.
I'm doing something legal, right? It's not illegal to sell online, right? Yeah. You got Amazon, you doing Amazon, Poshmark, Mercari, eBay.
All day.
It's perfectly legal all day. But to Bridges, that's the name of the work release, it wasn't for their policy, right? Even though they didn't tell me when I got in there, hey, listen, you can't, resell online. They didn't say that, but
that's crazy. That's crazy. So at the end of the day, and my final thought on this is you gotta be smart about every decision that you make, because there's repercussions for everything that you make. And granted, we are all products of our environment, but we are the decisions that we make. Yeah. And some of those decisions that we make are not the best for our own. Because if you ask most people, I did it because. And it's usually because of you trying to take care of something. You got a weight on your back that you're trying to take care of. So therefore, you sacrifice and you put yourself on the line. And therefore, that's you got to suffer the consequences. Unfortunately, in United States, the prison is a business here. If you go to any other country, prison is not a business. It is torture. It's like, you getting hands cut off. It's a different world when you leave the United States. And we could complain about the business here, but you know what? You got all 10 fingers and 10 toes. Yeah. And
that definitely that goes definitely into my final thought as well. It's like we made reference to Mexico and how like crazy it is if you go to jail there. Then it's like, oh hell, I mean, even we got a ticket and we got a boot on our car, like we couldn't even, like that's crazy, right?
I thought I was in jail.
Yeah, it's like we literally got a boot. I'm just gonna give a quote from Nelson Mandela, right, who spent a significant
27
time
years
in prison. And he says that you don't judge a nation by where, like, their highest citizen, judge them by how they treat their lowest citizen, right? Ooh, so it's like no one truly knows a nation until you've been to its jails, right? So when you go to a nation's jails, you see how they truly treat the lowest of the lowest. These are criminals. These are people that they can care less of. And then if you go to that same nation and see how they honor these people who are honorable, it's a trip.
That's damn. That's profound right there. Shout out to, man, rest in peace, Nelson Mandela on that one. That was huge. Yeah. Yo, Ty, what's your, how can the people follow you? If somebody wanted to reach out to you and talk to you about experiences, something that they may be going through, whatever the case may be.
Or get some of your gear.
Yeah, and how can they find some gear from Touch Money Enterprise?
Man, you go on Mercari, look up Touch Money Ty. You can follow me on Instagram, Touch Money _Ty _, or you can follow me on Facebook at Tyrone Walker.
Super dope.
All right, and ladies, don't forget he's single and ready to mingle.
Thanks for coming on,
yeah,
bro.
bro.
Life
Love
is
you.
Shit.
Alrighty.
Love you. Appreciate
Love you too, sis. Love you,
All
bro. All right.
All right. Love you, baby.
I love you. Do us a favor. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. Leave a review. Let us know what your thoughts are. That's the only way that this show is going to be successful. And we appreciate you. Talk with you next time.